If you ever have information that can save my life, don't email it to me, all right? Knock on my door, tell me to my face. Don't email me life-saving information and just hope that I get it in time. Don't do what Heather Garden's retirement community did last Wednesday when it emailed its residents in Aurora telling them not to light a match during a major gas leak. An email, one that our Marshall Zellinger found should never have been sent.
This is the area of Heather Gardens where a gas leak was reported on Wednesday. 2 days later, a separate gas leak was reported in this section, which resulted in an explosion that killed resident Carol Ross and destroyed a section of townhomes. The two gas leaks are unrelated. Let's focus on the one from Wednesday, the one that led Heather Garden Security to send out this email. We ask that you do not light any matches, lighters, candles, or use anything that could cause a spark for the time being. Xcel Energy had nothing to do with this notice, but we wanted to know if it's advice they would ever provide.
There is no scenario under which, if we believe there was a danger to life or property, that we would tell somebody to stay put in their home.
Even if there was a scenario where you would be allowed to stay at home with the caveat, don't light a match, which there isn't, we wanted to know if a mass email is really the best way to warn people. We wanted to ask Heather Gardens at today's community meeting, but we were kept out. However, audio of the meeting provided to Next reveals a resident asking what was on our mind.
People look at their email every other day. A lot of people are retired. They are not looking at their email every day. So can there be another concerted effort to think about this as being like a university campus where we have a reverse 911, where we can actually reach out to people via phone to tell them that there's issues and what to do?
Yes, and thank you. We are actually looking at a reverse 911 or some type of robocall system.
I had a casual conversation with a member of security at Heather Gardens who told me that email was meant as a warning, really no different than a crime alert, just keeping the community alerted to what's going on in the community. I asked Aurora Fire if it provided input before that email was written and sent. A spokeswoman was checking, Kyle, but she's not gotten back to me yet.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly seem like best practices. Encouraging, though, to hear that inside audio saying that they're going to look to do better in the future.
And it's a good thing a resident was asking what was on our mind so we could get that answer.
All right. Marshall, thank you very much. Something very important and very confusing is happening in Colorado tonight, so I will do my best to explain this simply. Governor John Hickenlooper, a Democrat in the final months of his term, is using a rare power that he has to try and force the state Supreme Court to dig into how taxes work in our state, whether the Taxpayer Bill of Rights conflicts with an earlier amendment limiting residential property taxes. You've got fire departments and libraries and water districts and such that are limited in the taxes that they can collect because of this conflict. This is not a new issue, but the governor's approach is one final power play. Small government advocate John Caldera from the Independence Institute told me tonight that the governor is showboating. Caldera told me, quote, "The timing screams, I want to be president." This time last night, our attention was in downtown Denver, where several people had been shot. 24 hours later, we know that it was actually a shootout. One guy shooting one way, another returning fire. Denver police think they have both of them in custody now. A guy named Josh Hayward faces a murder charge for the one person who was killed. Police have not released that person's name. Investigators say the other shooter was a man named Deshae Armstrong. He was one of 5 people who were hit as shots were exchanged a few blocks from Coors Field in Lodo. Denver Sheriff's Office did not want you to see a video of a prisoner escaping from their custody at Denver Health earlier this year. Dangerous guy. He was on the loose for months. Now we know why they were so reticent about that video. The Sheriff's Office thinks the deputies involved bungled this pretty badly. Chris Vanderveen from our 9 Wants to Know team is along now. So, Chris, you got 2 deputies who were suspended 6 days, 14 days for their mistakes that gave an attempted murder suspect a 6-minute head start.
6 months, 6 minutes, that's very important. March 19th, the 2 deputies were transporting 3 inmates from jail to Denver Health, including one who was in jail on an attempted murder of a police officer charge when he threw off a pair of crutches and ran away from them. Mauricio Venzer Gonzalez was a free man for an additional 5 months before finally getting arrested in Thornton in August. An internal affairs report made public today was not kind to the 2 deputies charged with transporting him to the hospital. Let's put this into a timeline to help you understand a little better. 6:31 a.m., March 19th. An internal affairs report says, while in the hospital's Sally Port, Venzor Gonzalez sheds his crutches, jumps a wall, and runs away. Deputies Steven Hernandez and Jason LeSean, both veteran deputies, had problems with their radio, apparently. So Denver police didn't even know of the escape until 6:36 a.m. At 6:37, or 6 minutes after the escape, or 360 seconds, go ahead and count that out if you want to, the two deputies finally go out looking for the escapee. Should note, Denver police didn't show up on scene until 6:51 a.m., or 20 minutes post-escape. Big heads up there. This all becomes even more noteworthy because later that day, while they were looking for Venzor Gonzalez, Denver police got involved in a chase with an SUV they thought he was in. He wasn't. At the end of that chase, after the SUV crashed, Denver police shot and killed the driver, wounded a passenger. Should say the Denver district attorney found that shooting to be legally justified. So, Deputy Hernandez gets a 14-day suspension, Deputy LeSean a 6-day suspension. Both will go back to work, and the Denver Sheriff's Department has tweaked its transport protocol to try to make sure that this never happens again. One more thing, Kyle, as you said, there is a video of the entire escape, probably won't look too good for the Sheriff's Department, has yet to be released. As you know, we have asked for it repeatedly. They have denied each and every request.
And all these dangerous situations, Chris, playing out in very populated areas. You got Denver Health right off of Spear, and that crash and shooting was 40th in Colorado.
Chase went right by my home, in fact.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Chris. Thanksgiving dinner will be slathered in awkward sauce for two Democratic congressmen from Colorado who promised to oppose Nancy Pelosi for House Speaker, but cannot seem to find anyone to run against her. Congressman Ed Perlmutter and Congressman-elect Jason Crow have said that they will not vote for Pelosi, and they also will not vote present in symbolic opposition to Pelosi. Here's the thing, though. They got to vote for somebody, and today, the most prominent possible Democratic challenger, Marcia Fudge of Ohio, got in line behind Pelosi. So at this point, the Colorado guys, Perlmutter and Crow, are Bluto in Animal House at the end of his inspirational speech.
Who's with me? Let's go! Come on! Ah!
Yeah, that's where they are at this point. President Trump loves this. He's relishing the Democrats' dilemma in getting recalcitrant raps like Perlmutter and Crow to vote Pelosi in the end. It's not clear if President Trump was serious or joking when he said that if Pelosi needs a few Republican votes to become Speaker, they'll round them up for her. Denver is closer than ever to setting up a supervised injection site for drug addicts. 11 out of 13 city council members voted for that idea last night. Though even people that you would think would be on the same side of this issue are not. Our Anusha Roy heard from two people, both touched by addiction, with very different views on whether this will work.
The thing about addiction,
so here I am, a city councilman. I had cancer.
Is sometimes you can't tell from first glance.
I had a really tough surgery and started taking some opiates.
Who it set its eyes on.
Beginning to take these, I felt a reliance on these. And I saw how easy it was to fall into addiction.
Denver City Councilman Albus Brooks helped draft the ordinance that would pave the way to set up one pilot location in Denver. The idea is people would use drugs like heroin and cocaine here instead of in public, and there would be trained staff nearby in case someone overdoses.
If they actually visited these sites with me, they would see the transformation.
Brooks visited Vancouver, BC, the closest of more than 60 cities around the world with similar programs, and says it shows that this would save people from dying from an overdose, cut down on diseases spreading, and help people get treatment. As of last night, a majority of City Council gave the green light, and a final vote is planned for next Monday.
It's not only a drug is addiction, but it's a demon.
But those against the idea may not always be who you expect.
I lost my niece 8 months ago to overdose of heroin.
Lynette Martinez says she just can't give her support.
They're going to use in an alley, they're going to use in a bathroom, they're going to use wherever they need to get that fix at that present moment.
Now, even if City Council does pass the ordinance, the city wants the state legislature to waive a nuisance ordinance so they can move ahead. But that's where they got shut down the last time they tried this earlier this year. So it is worth mentioning that in Vancouver, British Columbia, which we've heard so often used as an example, the deaths have actually gone up because of another growing problem, people using fentanyl, which is a synthetic opioid. So even the supporters of this, Kyle, they're saying that supervised injection sites, they are not a perfect solution.
And anytime we are talking about restricted drugs, we know that the Justice Department might get involved.
Yeah, so Denver by no means is the only place that is considering this. Justice Department got a memo knowing that this is kind of being considered, it's brewing across the country, and that it could potentially violate federal law. So we asked Albus about that, and he said that they're ready, that their intention is to prevent a public health crisis, to solve that, and that they will answer to the federal government if they step in.
All right, Anusha, thank you. Painting pain to help doctors understand invisible injuries.
Every spinal cord injury is like a snowflake, and everyone is individual and different.
An out-of-state doctor recommended an abortion against a couple's wishes, so the parents came to Colorado for a fighting chance.
It just really shows me she has a lot of fight in her.
And a sign that reminds me of the best hairstyle 9 News won't let me wear. Next.
Miracles do happen, and if you're paying attention, you just might catch a glimpse.
In the quest to find purpose, we could all use a little clarity, a second chance to see the not so obvious.
And he quoted our favorite lyric from our song, and that was the last thing that he texted me.
Clay remembers nothing of what happened, but thanks to a phone call, a family was given a second chance.
I could hear her children in the background.
Clay's second chance. Learn more about his remarkable story tonight at 10.
We are Broncos.
I'm a Broncos fan because we got the best team in the NFL.
My whole life I've been a Broncos fan.
Denver till we die. We bring the thunder. Bronco fans are the best.
It's probably the most exciting thing that you could ever feel.
We're the best team in the league, obviously. We got the best fans. The whole stadium shakes and everybody's jumping around and rooting and hollering. There's nothing like this crowd.
Broncos fans will always stay loyal.
We're looking forward to another Super Bowl win.
This is Bronco country.
We bleed orange and blue.
Latina for me means family.
Being Latino to me means having pride in my heritage.
It means being part of a community where you're never alone.
Being Latina is being strong and independent.
Being Latino is really everything to me.
It's who I am.
Being Latina to me means that I can achieve whatever I want.
What Latina means to me is being bold.
It's being creative, innovative, resourceful.
Being Latina means celebrating life in a unique way.
Connie Krieger and her family were in a plane crash in the mountains in 1979. Her grandmother was killed, but the rest of the family survived. She knew the next day was Christmas and she needed a Christmas miracle. And on Christmas morning, she and her family were rescued. All these years later, Connie wanted to meet her rescuers, and she did. It was like 38 years disappeared. They are Coloradans through and through. They had that determination. They just never gave up. It shows how important life is.
We see the same regurgitated news and images over and over and over again. I want to present something new to you each night. Hearing perspectives, hearing opinions, hearing analysis. It's a sign, and it honestly reminds us of America's most unfairly maligned hairstyle. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, the mullet. This sign, business up front, party in the back. Do you see the ice sliding off the back of that sign? That's wild. This is Sunday morning near 136 and I-25 in Thornton. Chris Blakely just watched as the thin sheet of ice slid off the back. That's how all of us felt at 9 Cares Colorado Shares over the weekend. Me and you unloading your car with a thin sheet of ice sliding off our faces. Send your signs to next@9news.com or use the hashtag HeyNext.
Thankful for a great week of travel this busy holiday week across Colorado, but changes afoot. Not one but two storm systems. One will bring rain to California and snow to our mountains midweek. A second storm will bring snow to Denver by the weekend. In the meantime, the temperatures will trend about 10 degrees above average, and that is something that we will continue to look forward to right through the end of the week. High pressure ridge will separate the storm in California from another one in the Midwest, and we'll continue to watch as that front begins to near the northern border. But with with winds out of the southwest, we do expect that temperatures will climb back into the 60s. There's snow coming into the mountains midweek and a little bit of light snow for Denver here on Saturday. But you know what? Between now and then, looking pretty good. Fair skies, cool tonight, low 27. Tomorrow, sunshine, temperatures near 60 in the city. That is a trend that will continue through the end of the week. It's colder for the weekend when you know it. Chance for snow on Saturday with cool weather to kick off the new week, but not quite as cold as this beautiful Black Mountain shot from over the weekend from Tim Settle. Kyle.
That looks crisp. All right, thank you, Kathy. You have heard the expression walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. Walking any distance in Matt Crow's shoes sounds immensely painful. Matt shattered his neck in a mountain biking crash this summer as he was training for a race. Our Byron Reed shows how the injury inspired an idea to use color to create empathy and understanding of Matt's pain.
Big Broncos fan.
There's something to be said about expressing yourself.
More orange the better, without a doubt.
So everyone else knows how you're feeling.
Okay, where's the line to the dark blue?
But for Matt Crow and his wife Janelle, self-expression takes on a new meaning after an accident that happened in June.
I just tried to get around an aspen tree. Got around it, but then a rock emerged from behind that tree, went over my handlebars, tried to get up, and I couldn't.
Matt was then flown by Flight for Life to St. Anthony Hospital, where he had corrective surgery on his spine.
He had a severe neck injury, had a neurological insult, and the initial CAT scan showed a neck dislocation.
Weeks later, he was transferred to Craig Hospital for rehabilitation, where he had an idea to show his doctors that he still had areas of numbness.
I wanted them to understand how I felt, what it was like that they couldn't see, in what's known as the invisible injury.
So Matt and Janelle started painting.
We are painting my Miracle Matt.
His levels of feelings across his body.
White is where I feel normal. Below that is orange. It's one level below white. Black is completely numb.
My background is in fine art, specifically sculpture, but I never thought in a million years I'd be using any of my background for what I'm doing today.
Crow says the solution of using his body as a human canvas is the best way he can let others know how he's doing on his road to recovery.
It also just lets people know what's going on. And I think that's a really big piece.
For next,
bring on the orange and the white.
I'm Byron Reed.
Isn't that interesting? It's been 4 months since Matt's injury. He's not only walking, he's back on his bike, and he hopes to be competing next year. A high-risk pregnancy brought her back to Colorado after being told she should terminate.
I felt like there was a little bit of hope for us.
She received more than just hope here. Some drivers cross a line, others claim it entirely. And it's not leaving dogs in a hot car if the car didn't have a roof. That's next.
We got the tough news that my dad was diagnosed with early onset dementia, and I found the Alzheimer's Association. So the association then led me to the Walk to End Alzheimer's. And at that walk, people were walking up to me and giving me advice. They were telling me what to expect down the road. And in a way, they were saying, I'm here with you. To know that there are people in Colorado who have your back, no matter what, it's just an incredible feeling.
These girls are too much.
Can I have your attention, everyone? That depends. Are you a cat video?
Too funny.
Here's your fish of the day. That day is last Monday.
Too wild.
Together. Caroline's got a date tonight.
It's not a joke. I'm really going on a date.
Stop it. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna pee.
Two Broke Girls.
5 nights a week on Channel 20.
The Rocky Mountains, our playground and home. Along the range, plenty of places for secrets to hide. Mysteries that leave one to question who's to blame. Like the story of Chuck, a man missing for more than a year, found dead in his own living room. How does this happen? And why? Who's to blame? Join our journey as we investigate these Colorado mysteries on our podcast Blame, available on 9news.com/blame or wherever you download your favorite podcasts.
Need some support for your health goals? It's tough to do it alone. Whether you're trying to lose weight or just tracking your fitness goals, 9Health has a convenient tool for busy people. Go to 9healthcare.org and click eTools. Get the power of technology and the personal touch of a lifestyle coach.
You don't have to do it all by yourself. For less than your weekly fancy coffee treat, you get a personalized plan right in your pocket.
Go to 9healthcare.org and click on eTools. Find the right program for you.
Hey, Denver, what happens when the most daring team in daytime takes on trending stories live? Anything and everything.
I am pro-sex workers. You're crazy.
I said it. You are totally off base here. I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you. Denver, join the live conversation.
With the DBL Nation.
Daily Blast Live, the talk of what's trending. Weekdays at 1 on 9 News.
We've got a big problem today where everybody sorts themselves into different piles and they only listen to people that they agree with. I hope you disagree with me some of the time. I hope you agree with me most of the time. That's the point of Next. That's what we're going for. Goldie's parents weren't given much hope in California, so they came to Colorado. They came with their unborn baby, one of the 1 in 2,500 babies diagnosed with congenital diaphragmatic hernia. CDH basically means the baby's organs are moving out of place. Goldie's parents were told to terminate their pregnancy. Our photojournalist Luis Ramirez shows us how they found a second opinion and found hope here.
Shh, the baby is sleeping.
This is Goldie Baker. She's my 6-week-old baby girl.
Goldie, short for marigold.
The official flower for October, and she was born October 9th, so it just kind of felt right for her.
And like any new parent, Molly is losing sleep.
I wake up every 2.5 hours, change her and feed her, and then try and sleep in between.
But changing diapers was the least of Molly's worries. Just 12 weeks into the pregnancy, Goldie was diagnosed with congenital diaphragmatic hernia, a condition where the diaphragm doesn't fully develop, leading to organs in the abdomen to move up, blocking the growth of the lungs.
From that point, things really changed drastically.
Molly says doctors in California gave her very little hope.
It did sound like, she did have a condition that she wasn't going to be able to overcome.
Until she was introduced to the Colorado Fetal Care Center at Children's Hospital, Colorado.
And from that first appointment, I really felt like a huge weight had been lifted. I felt like there was a little bit of hope for us.
We offer a lot of hope here. We are very confident in our assessment of the diaphragmatic hernias. And with Goldie's case, I think all we had to offer was hope.
And the way that she bounced back from it, she is so resilient.
I would say she is a fighter.
A fighter whose only job now is to keep her parents awake.
Oh, hello. I know.
For Next,
that's right.
I'm Luis Ramirez.
Millie hopes she and Goldie can head back to California soon. That's where Dad's waiting. Every day I think there's no way that you are going to show me a new way to cross a line. But you do. I think this is our first strike, is it not? 3 wheels giving 0 you-know-whats. A Next viewer named Doug spotted this 3-wheeled outlaw at an office off Wadsworth in Eastman. I love this. This is good, fun public shaming. Now it's your turn. Email pictures to next@9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext. A car with far more dogs than people is the most Colorado thing today that we saw today, and an insult that just made me laugh out loud. It was directed at me. Don't worry about it. Next.
I think one of the most important things that you can do anytime, not just on the news, is not take yourself too seriously. So I dressed up as a UPS driver for a story one time. I dressed up as a snowman for the Parade of Lights. Even dressed up as a stormtrooper for a story about Star Wars. The more I think about it, I do a lot of costume work here. The fact that everyone at home embraces that and lets me continue to do that really makes me feel at home.
Smart, funny, honest. Just like you. Check out Next, weekdays at 6 on 9 News.
So I got this awesome opportunity to conduct the Colorado Symphony Orchestra just for fun. That first second when that note just hits you after you kind of lean back and you hit them with it and all that sound just hits you right in the face. The coolest thing I realized was we have world-class musicians living right here in Colorado. And you think about it, if you're an artist and you live in a place like Colorado, how can you not be inspired?
Get to know the Johnsons 5 nights a week.
How about I give you $100?
No, 200. And you agree not to have any more children.
Okay, that's a decision I have. No.
A traditional family.
I'm here to help.
You're not Mom.
Where's Mom?
And an unconventional comedy.
I think you look good for your age, Dad. 40's not bad, right? You're only 40? Good Lord, you've lived a hard life.
Weekdays starting at 5 p.m. on Channel 20.
Justice is here. If you haven't tuned in to the Justice Network, then you're missing a program lineup dedicated to stories of true crime and investigation.
No one vanishes without a trace.
Quality series rich in suspense, mystery, and intrigue.
Put your hands above your head. Back up.
Plus, a public safety initiative to make your community safer.
Join me, John Walsh, on the all-new Justice Network.
Hey, Denver, what happens when the most daring team in daytime takes on trending stories live? Anything and everything.
I am pro-sex workers. You're crazy.
I said it. You are totally off base here. I can't believe I'm saying this. I do agree with you. Denver, join the live conversation.
With the DBL Nation.
Daily Blast Live, the talk of what's trending. Weekdays at 1 on 9 News.
In Conifer. She actually says there's a fourth large dog that's up in the front seat that you can't see. I imagine that's the one in charge, making sure nobody drives away with the convertible. Finished with your feedback. Perhaps you saw that the Centers for Disease Control today said that no romaine lettuce is safe. There's an E. coli outbreak in 11 states. That's very serious. You should get it out of your fridge. Love that E wrote in and said, I hope Kyle had a Caesar salad for lunch. That's charming. Thank you so much for that. Mixed feelings about the theme song. Jennifer Cooper says, love your show, fresh, accurate humor, but can't stand the intro music. Whereas Nick Bell's like, is there a way to download that 9 News theme music? Because, I mean, that's my jam. Denver writes in, next, only you would use a Bluto reference to explain the opposition to Nancy Pelosi. Yet another reason why I watch next. Hey, if Animal House references is all it takes, we'll give you plenty more of those. And Leslie says, oh, this is sweet. Kyle, you were the best thing to happen at 9 News since Ed Sardella. Well, no, that's factually inaccurate. I mean, you got Adela Arakawa, you got Kim Christensen, you got Adam Schrager, there was Paula Woodward, there's Chris Vanderveen, there's Jeremy Hola, you got Brandon Ritteman in there. Subscribe to the next YouTube channel and I'll buy you a beer. Am I actually buying them a beer? This could be a very poor idea. We need some terms and conditions. Offer subject to terms and conditions.